Okay, great. Hello, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are today. I see there's 5 people already joining us live. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let us know in the chat where are you connecting from. Let me quickly introduce myself. I am Millie. I am head of advocacy here at Okendo. I'm connecting today from Portugal. So great to have you all here. We have Darren as well from Minimal. He's our star guest. He'll be answering all of your questions and walking us through their loyalty program. He's connecting today from LA. So yeah, drop in the chat, where are you connecting from? If you hear from Salt Lake City, hey, Mari. I would also love to hear if you are actually running a loyalty program, or if you are thinking about launching one. Yeah, would love to hear that. Samson from Portland, Oregon, a lot of West Coast fellows joining us today. Yoshi, so nice to see you here. Some team support from LA. We're gonna give it a few minutes until we have give people time to connect, and we'll kick it off in just like 2 minutes, 5 past. Mari, use reviews and loyalty at Okendo. Amazing. And what's the vertical? What's the brand that you're working with at the moment, Mari? Okay, great. Also remember, we are going to be giving away 5 gift cards for Minimal at the end of the session, so that's pretty exciting as well. Oh, Alpaca, I met some of your team in Shop Talk this year in March. Yay, would love to get in contact with you and do a bit of would love to walk you through the Superfan program or advocacy program. Yeah, I'm familiar with Alpaca. It's so great to have you join us today. I'm gonna share my screen. There we go. Okay, great. So let's see, where's the chat? Great. Hello from San Francisco. We use Okendo for reviews and just sign up for loyalty, and we'll be launching next month. Amazing. Just in time for BFCM. So that's a great timing. Actually, after all of your acquisition, new customers acquisition, you will able to keep them close to the brand. Hi, Adam from LA Valley. Who else is here? Okay. Okay, I think we can kick it off now. So welcome again. Welcome everyone to episode 3 of our Loyalty with Okendo webinar series. This series is intended to highlight our top performing brands under like a standout loyalty program. Every month, we invite one of our super fans to break down their program and share some tactical insights that you can put in practice as well for your brand. So if you are evaluating a loyalty program, or you currently have one and are wondering how to make it better, this is going to be a great session for you. Today we have Darren Yuen, Senior Manager of Digital Marketing at Minimal. Thank you so much, Darren. Do you wanna introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Millie, for having me on. Hey, everybody. Like Millie said, I manage digital marketing for Minimal, so all things from acquisition to the retention side. I'm really excited to come on and talk loyalty.
Amazing. And today we're going to be talking about Minimal's blueprint for customer loyalty. So let me walk you through our agenda. We're going to be talking a little bit about the vision behind Minimal and how did community and loyalty gain so much relevance for them and their growth journey. We're going to be breaking down the customer journey of Minimal as well. We are going to be going through the loyalty program, the community blueprint. This is where you need to be paying attention to be able to take those insights, actionable insights to put in action. And then we're going to be reviewing the results that they've seen with Okendo. We're going to have time for some live Q&A and then some special offers at the end of the session. Okay, so first of all, yeah, tell us a little bit about Minimal, what's the vision behind the brand, and why loyalty became the priority as you grew.
Of course, yeah. Minimal. So we're a men's streetwear brand. We started about 10 years ago. Our 10-year anniversary is actually in October, so very exciting. We started off with denim at our core, and now we offer staples for your entire wardrobe. So we really try and get that high quality designer look with an affordable price. Um, Loyalty is such a big focus for us because we've spent a lot of time and money building our top of funnel. So for the past, 2 to 3 years, we've been really focused on things like TikTok Shop and Instagram. So loyalty is the best way for us, the easiest way for us to retain our customers and give them a little bit of incentive to come back and shop with us again.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially with rising acquisition costs.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You want to make the most out of those shoppers that arrive to your website and already converted one. Okay, amazing. And then, yeah, let's talk us about a little bit about the journey of minimal shoppers. You mentioned that TikTok and social commerce it's very relevant for you guys. Talk us through the customer journey a little bit.
Yeah, so most of our customers will find us through the social media platforms, right? So like TikTok, Instagram, things like that. They'll come onto the site, and we've done our best to really make the experience as easy as possible. Um, so once they convert the first time, we do our best to advertise our loyalty program. Just make sure that they know every purchase they make has meaning, and even if they don't want to purchase, we like to give out incentives for just checking us out. So whether it be visiting our Instagram, visiting our YouTube page, we really want to just make sure that they get the opportunity to use some of our rewards points that we give for just doing everyday tasks to get them to make that second purchase or even get them to make that first purchase.
100%. And one question, what would you say is the difference given minimal is a streetwear and it's like driven? How does that shape the customer relationship versus replenishment?
Yeah, yeah. So like with a typical maybe a basics company that sells like t-shirts and stuff like blank t-shirts and stuff like that, you can really sell you have to buy once every 30 days. But for us, we're very drop heavy. We have to give the customer a reason to tune back in. So we really like to do things like anytime we have the chance, we try and do like, a loyalty exclusive, early access to our drops, or, maybe a loyalty exclusive discount to our new products. We drop every week, so we try and give people as many styles as they can really digest, right?
Yeah.
So instead of going with replenishment, we have to stay very drop focused and focus on newness.
Yeah, and I know you also play around scarcity, right? Like with limited editions to drive that conversion.
Yeah, yeah, we've been trying to do a little bit of a better job at that. We used to not bring in very much stock, but we've seen a lot of demand increases throughout the year, so we're trying to bring in more. But scarcity does still play a little bit of a role in our drops every week.
Mhm. No, that makes total sense. So let's walk a shopper like through the journey and like maybe like do a comparison between someone that has like this journey all cohesive and talking to each other and like a break uh, journey. So you capture these prospects, you use a lot of UGC that you're also collecting through your reviews to get shoppers on your website, and then you convert them with these like scarcity drops, with reviews, increasing the confidence of the shoppers with like your reviews, then you keep nurturing that relationship with your loyalty program. And then you go above and beyond, making them super fans with the retention and advocacy. That I think there's just a question on the chat right now about your in content creator program, right? Which are these loyalists that are going like above and beyond.
Yeah, yeah. So our loyalty program is separate from our influencer program. We do have influencers that work with us through, like TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. Our loyalty program is mainly for our customers. We might talk about this a little bit later, but one of the main things that we do want to bridge is the influencer and the loyalty program and just get both parties involved in more things.
For sure. Okay, amazing. So yeah, let's see. Yes. So I know like you had a program before, and
Mhm.
then you made a transition to Okendo. Talk us a little bit like what was missing on your first round with your loyalty program. I bet there are going to be some learnings as well for the audience on like those lower hanging fruits that you were able to grasp with the switch.
Yeah, yeah. So when we first started our loyalty program, I'd say it was about maybe 4 years ago. We were on a separate or a different provider back then. It was very bare bones. We just needed to get something off the ground to stay competitive because we saw everybody else in the space have a loyalty program. Um, we were just giving people points and we were giving people discounts. We weren't thinking too heavily about the structure. We weren't thinking too heavily about the user experience or anything like that. So one of the biggest problems that we saw was acquisition rate. And we made sure that when transitioning our program to Okendo, that acquisition rate was one of the first things that we targeted. We wanted to make sure that people had a very smooth experience to getting their discounts or their rewards. And we also wanted to make the program as streamlined as possible without just make it simple, keep things simple. I think simplicity for something like a loyalty program is really key to success.
For sure. And yeah, you've talked about seamless. I know like there was a big fix that you have. We will, let me, okay, yeah, here it is. So here is the loyalty program. I see that I did sign up myself to check it out a little bit
Yeah.
and having like this easy access, being able to convert your points right there. And then as well at checkout, right? That was something
Yep.
that you look to fix.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Before, during our first program, the only way to redeem points was through that page, through our rewards page, which is why acquisition was a little lower than we would have liked. There was no way for customers to know how many points they had at checkout, which is when they're probably looking for points the most often, right? So with Akendo, one thing that we stressed is that we really wanted people to be able to find their points easily at the checkout page, right? So Akendo made it happen for us. There's a checkout module right there where you can scroll through the amount of points that you want to redeem, and you get to see how much you get off the purchase. There's different types of coupons that you could use, whether it be like um, something you get for advancing to the next tier or just redeeming, um, a certain amount of points. But yeah, this loyalty module helped us increase our acquisition rate incredibly. So now acquisition isn't really a problem for us. We're always aiming for more and or sorry, not acquisition, redemption rate has isn't really a problem for us anymore. We're always aiming for higher and higher redemption rate, but right now it's sitting at a much better place than it was when we were first starting out with our first program.
We love to hear that. We're gonna go to those results as well. And also, like, tell us a little bit about your onboarding and the switching to Okendo experience. How was that for you?
Yeah, the onboarding was very smooth. We had we had a pretty big list of loyalty members before, and we just imported that over to Okendo, no problem. The team at Okendo is always very, very helpful. They're incredibly hands-on with the transition. So anytime we had a question or anytime we wanted to see if we can maybe push something up in terms of timeline, they're very accommodating. So I'd say the customer service is always best in class with Okendo.
We love that. Yeah, we also talked about like when you were building your program and building the different tiers that you have, right? Um, you wanted to keep it simple. You have four tiers. Let me see. I want to show. I am losing. Okay, so yeah, so like what were you hoping to change when you defined these tiers with the Okendo team, and what were like your metrics of success?
So, sorry, I was reading the chat. Could you repeat that question?
That what were you hoping to change when you
Yeah.
rebuild the program with the team? Like when you define the tiers, what
Right,
were
right,
your main
right.
metrics that you were looking at?
Yeah, so we worked together with Okendo to really define our like repeat purchase rate and our customer LTV. And we determined that, this price point is really where, the second purchase happens and like this LTV is where the third purchase happens and stuff like that. We realized that customers get really sticky after the third purchase, so we wanted to make sure that it was an obtainable amount. We tier our customers based on spend, and then spend and LTV. And then we made sure to keep it simple. We had, I think it was 5 or 6 tiers before, and it was just like too many, too complicated, too many tiers, too many rewards and stuff like that. So we really just wanted to make sure that we kept it as simple as possible. Again, simplicity is the key here. And then we wanted to make sure that our third tier VIP gets a good amount of perks, and then our top tier, our friends and family, gets some special treatment for being in that top tier. Um, I believe it was 1 or 2 years ago, we flew two of our friends and family tier customers to Summer Smash in Chicago. We paid for their flight, we paid for their board, and that was in partnership with Kendo. So that was a really nice kind of community building event that we were able to do.
That's very cool. Yes, I think that's something that I keep hearing over and over about keeping the program simple. Like you want to keep it aspirational and motivate your shoppers to go from one tier to the next one, but you want to keep it like attainable, feel like they can
Yeah.
accomplish, and definitely not overcomplicate the program with like too many tiers. So right now, Minimal has four tiers, right?
Yes, we have 4 tiers. It's much easier to digest for the customer when you compare it to our old program, and um, that VIP tier, that third tier, is really for our stickiest customers, and then that second tier is where you see that first and second tier is really where you see a lot of our customers live. But we made sure that the transition from the first to second tier is pretty obtainable so that people have something that they can work towards.
Mhm. Another cool thing is like what you were mentioning, that how you work with the team to define where was like the spend, what was like the perfect spend amount to
Yeah.
incentivize that extra repeat purchase, right? And how you were
Yeah.
playing with those ranges to be able to capitalize the next purchase.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We really tried to make sure that we got the math correct in making the tiers. We didn't want to, if our AOV, for example, is 100, we didn't want to make the second tier, like spend $400 because then it would just take the customer too long, and by then they might not even want to move up a tier. They might not care about the program at all. We want to make sure that they feel rewarded at every stage.
For sure. Feel rewarded and as well without breaking the bank on your side, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Mhm. So yeah, I think like that's a very interesting like financial exercise of the loyalty program as well. Like where are those repeat purchases fallouts that you want to incentivize and like see some great results? I want to show you. Yeah, so with that loyalty, you were able to show like an increase of 32% in AOV, in average order value, and 2 times 2 more repeat purchase for enrolled members, which is like literally the results you want to see with a loyalty program.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The main thing we're having with having a loyalty program is we want to get that repeat purchase rate up. And we see that our enrolled members, like you see here, spend or they shop 2.2 times more often. The AOV piece is just a cherry on top for us. Um, we weren't really targeting our basket size or anything like that when we made the loyalty program, but with the perks that the loyalty program gives our customers, things like discounts that they can't get normally, um, the basket size just naturally increases, and seeing that higher AOV is really just another easy win with our loyalty program.
So cool to see. Okay. Now, like, let's just like break down a little bit, like the how you are rewarding and like the key success plays that you've had in your playbook. So one, we talked about like the gamified actions, right? Like rewarding beyond the transaction. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, we try and give customers points for every little action that they do. So whether that's checking us out on Instagram, following us on TikTok and stuff like that, we try to make sure that they can get some points without having to spend any money. That way, if they're a first-time customer, they can get a little, maybe like a $5 off coupon or a $10 off coupon for their first purchase. What makes our program a little I don't know if I'd say unique, but in terms of discounts, we don't do flat dollar off for anywhere else other than the loyalty program. So normally they would find like, maybe a 15% off, a 20% off in our emails or on our promos and things like that. But for our loyalty program, we decided that to keep things a little interesting, we would do a flat dollar amount, and we really see that resonate with our customer, and that's what they want. So the loyalty program is a great way to kind of control that. That way, you're not just throwing around a high percentage discount everywhere. Um, and then we just try to keep things very simple. Once you are signed up for the program and maybe you made your first purchase, we like to give points for things like leaving a review, um, which has been working very well for us. We've seen a lot of customers give reviews, and having our loyalty program tied to our reviews program makes things pretty seamless. Before, when we were on separate providers, we would have to work around things like maybe a Shopify flow, or at one point we had customers reach out to our customer success team and go like, "Hey, I left a review. Could you add points to my account?" And nobody wants to be dealing with that every day, especially when you have maybe like 20 customers coming into your customer success team every day asking for points because they left a review, right? So just having everything as seamless as possible, having a very clean experience for your customer is very nice.
That's great. And yes, and this is all out of the box as well, very easy
Yes.
to implement on the program. There is a question in the chat that says, like, how are you handling your points on the balance sheets?
Yeah. So for the balance sheet, I'd say accounting is probably a better source than me, but we don't treat it as like an outstanding or anything like that. It really lives on its own. We don't worry about it too much.
Okay. Yeah, I think like there has to be like that communication between the teams. I think that's this a common advice that I've heard of, like check when you are giving those discounts, double check that everything looks good on the financial side as well.
Yeah, yeah, and
Um,
our points have an expiration date, so it's not like they sit forever. Um, so it makes things a little bit easier for accounting.
mhm. Hope that answered your question. So yeah, okay. So number one out of the blueprint is like the gamified actions. We love to see how this is connected to reviews and also these reviews and also submitting UGC videos that is also feed into the funnel, right? So it's kind of like it nurtures itself from purchase to leaving a review to that
Mhm.
review serving also as an acquisition.
Yep, yep, exactly.
Okay, great. Next, we talked about seamless redemption, which is the zero friction checkout you were talking us about.
Yep, exactly. Having the checkout redemption is was a huge step towards increasing our redemption rate and just having more people interact with our program.
Mhm. I know that you've also made big efforts to enroll more of your shopper space into the loyalty program.
Yeah, yeah, we try and do it with automation, so our own channels, things like email and SMS. We had it our loyalty program in our nav before, but then we just tried moving it around. We added it to more places on our website just to make it a little bit more visible for the customer. And then even if the customer isn't logged in or part of our program and they're like just browsing, when they check out, they'll see an option to sign up. And I think that's a big help as well.
Yes. Out of my own experience as well. And then that like really connects as well to the consolidated tech stack, right? Like how important it
Yeah.
is that your different products are talking to each other to be able to personalize at scale as well.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And all of that, for the most part, is out of the box. I know that was one of the questions. We don't have too much custom stuff going on with Akendo. Maybe a little bit here and there, but I think a majority of it is something that Akendo could set up for you guys.
Cool. And also how like your different tech stack it's communicating between each other, right? I know you also use Klaviyo so that be able to segment. Can you share a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We use Klaviyo for email and SMS, so being able to segment our loyalty members through like a direct integration was very helpful. Before, when SMS was living on its separate platform, it wasn't as seamless. But since Akendo is integrated with Klaviyo, it makes things really easy. That was also a big deciding factor for us when we were making the switch. Just we wanted to make sure that everything was um, as easy as possible, and we wanted to be able to consolidate some of our tech stack and really uh, limit the amount of, janky fixes that we had to do with things like Shopify flows or anything like that, manual exports and imports.
100%. Yes, unification and consolidation becomes a big thing, I think, especially as a brand scales as well, and minimal as a fast-growing Shopify brand. I
Yep.
bet that you experience the same. There is another question in the chat in case you want to address it right now. Adam is asking, what about free products, or does that count as a discount? I know like you talked about exclusive access for your loyalty members and like early
Mhm.
access to discounts.
Yeah,
Maybe.
we don't do free product at the moment. It's something that we've been toying around with. We just really haven't gotten, I guess, the chance to flesh things out. We've been talking to Kendo about it for a little bit now, but for now, we really wanted to just keep things simple. So we're only doing discounts, and we're giving customers value through other things like Millie mentioned. We have the loyalty exclusive events, whether that be early access to drops, early access to things like our sales, VIP only sales, things like that, or like whether it be a big friends and family event. I'm sure we're going to do something for that tier when we do our 10th anniversary pop up in October. So we just find other ways to give value.
Okay, amazing. Then
We don't do bundling either. We're pretty simple. It'll be a discount. Sometimes we'll do a buy more, save more, but that's not exclusive to loyalty at all.
and what about like set and forget kind of like a loyalty program? Like how often are you reviewing the setup and how you can optimize your program? How does that look like for minimal?
Yeah, I wouldn't say we're set and forget, but we are pretty uh we try and limit the changes that we make to our program. We don't want to confuse the customer or anything like that. Um, for our 10th anniversary, we're maybe doing a rebrand of the program, so just new visuals and stuff like that. We're partnering with Okendo. They're helping us with the design and everything, so it's pretty easy on our part. But I don't think we're going to be changing the tiers or anything like that, or the point rewards. We like to keep the bones very simple, and then when we do make changes, it'll just be things on the back end
Mhm.
um, like our automations, or like we'll give a facelift to the program on the site through, again, our automations and stuff like that. Or if anything, we'll be adding features to the program. Like I said, we want to bridge the gap between our influencers and our customers. So we'll maybe figure out a way to do that, but we won't be changing up the structure too much. It's still going to be 4 tiers. It's still going to be earn points, and we want people to be able to look at their point balance and just quickly understand how much they have. Right. So if you have like 1,000 points, you get like $10 off. We don't want to make things too complicated.
That makes total sense, especially if the program is working. But I know you mentioned that you do kind of like review one channel or a source each month. You pick one channel to work on monthly basis, like you do a standing check-ins.
Yeah. So we work with our Okendo account manager, shout out Alex. Um, but he tends to bring up things that he thinks we can improve on. And then that really saves me the time because I am working on other things outside of loyalty to decide what is like the highest priority, or whether the findings he makes are actionable um, or not for us. But the Akendo team is really leading the way there in helping us find ways to improve. Usually with our month-to-month check-ins, it'll be like these minor improvements, but when we add up all the minor improvements, then our program in like 3 or 4 months becomes much better than it was the previous time.
So like having like a good base of the program structure that you know it's working and then making like marginal optimizations
Exactly.
every month to make the most for enrollment rate that is big for you. And then redemption rate is something that you're
Yeah.
looking at as well. And the repeat purchase between members and non-members versus members and non-members, right? So those
Right.
three.
Exactly.
Okay, those are great KPIs to keep an eye on. Yeah, and would love to know like what's the kind of feedback that you receive from the community? Is this something like that? I think you mentioned you've had some positive feedback as well from customers reaching out. How this is helping actually build a minimal community?
Yeah, the customers they enjoy the loyalty program. They enjoy being able to be rewarded for their purchases. One of the reviews that we get on our site, I'd say often enough for me to remember it, is they really enjoy the point system. They say it's one of the better point systems out there for fashion. I think it's just because we want to give them a little bit more. Sometimes customers feel like they go to other places and they spend maybe like $100, $200, and then they get like a $10 reward after that. We want to make sure that if you're spending that much with us, that you get something a little bit more meaningful than that. So whether it be like a $40 reward or a $50 reward. Um, and it's very controllable for us because if you give somebody $40 off or $50 off their next purchase, we just gate it behind a minimum spend. And then that way they're not just getting free product, right? We don't want to give $50 off a $50 purchase. So for example, you just gate it behind a $150 minimum spend, and then they're only getting maybe a 33% discount or something like that. So um, we're able to give more to the customer, and the customer seems to really acknowledge that and they really enjoy it.
We love to hear that. And yeah, I know you mentioned that you think like in this time, specifically with the rise of AI, how much more important is to have a loyalty program. Do you want to share a bit about your perspective on that?
Yeah, I think loyalty, and then also more so reviews, especially with all the AI nowadays. It's really nice to be able to see real people and like have real customer feedback, and then also with like Uh, Customer support is always great with Okendo. I never feel like they're using AI or anything like that. It feels very human, and I think that translates into our program. Our program isn't too complicated. It feels very human, it's very pro-consumer. Um, so yeah.
Okay. And the last question I have here is like if you were relaunching a neglected program or you have to give someone an advice for relaunching their program, like what's the first thing you would do? Like what's the advice you would give?
Yeah, I would say definitely keep things as minimal as possible, no pun intended. But also take a look at the repeat purchase rate, your customer LTV, and just make sure that your tiers are built around that. Do the math and then keep things simple. Make sure that um, the customers have access to all the information they need as easily as possible. So whether that be looking at their point balance or looking at how they redeem their rewards and stuff like that, just make sure that it's as seamless as possible, easy to find. They don't have to go through too many hoops and try and make things meaningful for the customer.
Meaningful for, yeah, definitely. Love that. So I would love to see if there is some more questions from the chat. Some more questions from Minima for Darren about their loyalty program. In the meanwhile, let me share with you as well while you submit the questions, like what we have on the Okendo side of things. Right now, we have 4 different types of loyalty programs that are kind of out of the box, ready to launch. We just released actually this week the cashback programs and the perk only programs. So these would be just as Darren said, like exclusive access for events as well. I think, Darren, you mentioned that you were planning to host some of those like in real life events for your loyalty members as well. So we have 4 different programs with Okendo. Cashback and perks, we're really excited, just launched. So if you want to know more, please let me know. And then another very cool offer that we have is we are doing free loyalty reports. It can be either a business case or an audit. If you have already a loyalty program running, our team goes through all your data and finds where's opportunity for growth and optimization. And if you don't have a loyalty program at the moment, the team go through your data and let you know how would that loyalty program would look like for your brand and what kind of revenue you would bring in today for your brand as your data is showing. So it's like full of insights. It's very comprehensive, something that you can use for your actual lunch. And this is the same kind of report that team built for our lunches. So I know, Darren, working with Alex as well, you had one of these programs, success program to launch. So this is very lots of value. If anyone wants access to this, just let me know. We're offering a few every month. And this is like a sneak peek of what it looks like. It's like a full customer analysis, a proposal for your loyalty program, and the revenue opportunity of your program as well. So this is kind of like no strings attached, lots of value that we want to share. So I'm going to be sharing a little bit about that in our follow-ups as well. On some announcements, we're going to be going to Cabos next month. That team will be at Boston at Klaviyo's user conference. One other of our Superfans, Heather from Nutrition Warehouse, will be there joining us in stage to break down their loyalty program with Scott from our team. So if you are going to Boston or if you want to go, we have discounted tickets for the conference, so some events that we are running around the conference as well. So also let us know if you're going to be there. Yeah, that's all my announcements. Anything else? We have still like 5 minutes. Um, Anything final thoughts, Darren, that you would like to share with the audience beyond, yeah, beyond the high season? BFCM is around the corner. Any thoughts?
Um, Yeah, BFCM is always really good for us, especially with loyalty. It's really easy to just give early access to our promos or give loyalty customers maybe an extra 5% off, something a little bit extra on top of our regular customers. So it's always an easy time for us to get adoption into the program or just have people who maybe don't come shop as often to come back and to shop again. So BFCM is always a really good time to interact with your loyalty program. And if you're setting up your program just in time for BFCM, um, it's even better because then you'll have time for people to really learn the program and learn how to take advantage of the rewards that they're getting or the perks that they're getting.
Mhm. And also, you mentioned that for you, post-purchase enrollments works really well. So I imagine BFCM, as you acquire so many new customers, you have like that chance right there to enroll them right away to your loyalty program.
Yeah, exactly. With our automations, if you make a purchase and for some reason you missed out on the loyalty program, we see a lot of people come back because of our post-purchase flow, and then they sign up for the program, and then their points are still there because Okendo will has that out of the box where they just give points to the email in the back end, even if they're not signed up right away, which I think is really nice. That way the customer doesn't feel like they're missing out or anything if they made like, $100 purchase. You don't want them to miss out on all the points they earned with that.
Yeah, that's a very cool consideration. So, okay, so there are no more questions in the chat. We are just on time. Thank you so much, Darren, for joining this session and breaking down the loyalty program, the minimal loyalty program. And yeah, excited for our next session next month as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks everybody for attending. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or via email or whatever. But yeah, thanks again.
I will make sure to share Darren's LinkedIn on our follow-up emails. You will receive that deck as well as the recording. So keep an eye for my email with all the highlights of the session and all the additional resources. Okay, thank you so much
Sounds
and
good.
talk to you
Thanks
soon.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.